Hey, welcome back to a Little Mo Games that I bought. Little Mo Gaming here, Little Mo, whatever you want to call me. It's good to be back in front of a camera. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I've been meaning to make this episode for a while. There's quite a few things here I want to talk about, some fun things besides video games as well. So I'll probably sprinkle those throughout, or maybe just leave them towards the end. We'll see. Yeah, every single one of these is really cool. There's a reason why they're here, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get to it. So to start off, I want to talk about some Nintendo Switch games. I've been showing some gameplay from this. This is the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. I bought this at Walmart alongside, I might as well bring it up, Cruisin' Blast here. So I've talked about both these games and I've shown gameplay for them. They were on a really good sale at Walmart and I just had to pick them up, especially Cruisin' Blast. I've been wanting to get it for a while. It's been on my list. Same with this. And what can I say? These games are so fun. I've had a blast with them. Street Fighter, I never thought that I could get into an old Street Fighter game in 2025. I really wanted to play Street Fighter 2 especially, and Street Fighter Alpha 2. And both of those games have been so fun. I already have like a full campaign complete on Street Fighter 2 using Honda. And out of all the characters, I didn't even realize, like I thought when I saw this, I thought I was going to be playing like Ryu or Ken, and I did. But I actually had a lot of fun playing as Honda, and it was fun to learn like his mechanics, right? Like his arms that stretch out, learning how to use that. And he doesn't really have any big ranged attacks, so it made it really difficult. I remember fighting, well, it was Ryu, Ken, and M. Bison for the final fight, and it was just so tough getting through those fights. But when I finally beat them, it felt so good. So Street Fighter Anniversary Collection has been great. So far, really, most of my time has been in Street Fighter 2 and Alpha 2. I do want to try some of the other ones, but I've had a really great time in this one. And then Cruisin' Blast, it's just some fun, classic arcadey racing. I have Cruisin' USA on N64. That's a really fun game. I remember even playing it in arcades. I haven't really been to an arcade in a long time, so I'm not sure if Cruisin' Blast is currently in the arcades, but the way it feels, it certainly feels like it is. I mean, it feels like a classic arcade racer, collecting money and getting keys to unlock levels. Really, really fun stuff. Absolutely having a blast with Cruisin' Blast. All right, and then I just have one more Nintendo Switch game. I bought this a while ago. This is Dusk. This is really fun. I have had my eye on this for a while. It went on sale on VGP, and I finally got my hands on it. It is a limited run game. You can see there, limited run at the bottom. It's cool because they include like this little booklet here. Not really much to the booklet, like little bit of explanation of like what it includes and what kind of game it is, but a neat little thing to have when you buy a game physically. You don't really get that a lot these days, and I've talked about that before. But what can I say about the game itself? It's retro, first-person shooter, crazy. It feels like Doom or Wolfenstein, that kind of thing, way more retro. I mean, it feels like I'm back on my computer in the year 2000 or 2001, or even like 1999. I had a game called Tactical Ops, and I also had Unreal Tournament. When I was a kid, these were just bootleg games I got on PC, mostly from Syria. I've talked about this before, where I get a lot of bootleg games from Syria when I was a kid, and it feels just like that. It has the same aesthetic, the same feeling of like moving around the map, and the noises and the sounds that they have in there really makes it feel like a 90s shooter. Most of my experience as a kid was with Unreal Tournament, and this really gives me that vibe. But of course, it's more creepy, kind of horror, cultist, stuff, and the music is great. Very reminiscent of Doom at some parts, and it's got this really eerie vibe to it. But great game, Dusk. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It's not that hard to find. It's not expensive. It's just sometimes, for some reason, whenever it pops up on like VGP, for example, and they'll restock it from time to time, and it'll sell out pretty quick. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. I think it's also on Steam. You can probably get it for really, really cheap on there if you play on PC. This game is great. I can't wait to really play more of it. So now we're going to get through the PlayStation section. The first two games I want to talk about here, Stellar Blade and Death Stranding 2. Pretty much just flip the covers on it because they have really great artwork on it. These are the two games that I'm playing right now. I mean, let's talk about Stellar Blade. I'm almost done with the game. I think I'm on the final boss fight. This game has been great. Really great action, fast-paced, stylish. You know, it just feels good. Like when you parry someone, you really feel like you parry them. Like you can feel the impact. And I think part of that has to do with the DualSense controller and, you know, like the haptics and all that. Combat is fun, the graphics, the environments, the atmosphere. The story is actually pretty great as well. There's definitely some twists and turns that you might not expect. I highly recommend playing it. It's just a fun action game. I just realized I was holding Death Stranding while talking about Stellar Blade. Okay, forgive me on that. This is Stellar Blade right here, so if you want to look at the artwork there. But yeah, I already talked about it, but this is the actual Stellar Blade. So yeah, I was holding Death Stranding. Death Stranding 2. I'd say I'm probably about halfway through the game, maybe a little less still. I took a break from it for a while to play Stellar Blade, and now that I'm almost done with that, I'll definitely be hopping back into Death Stranding. But what can I say about this? I mean, it's Death Stranding 2. Absolutely beautiful in the graphics department. Performance is great. It plays amazingly. I don't know what kind of sorcery they have at Kojima Productions to get it as optimized as they did to perform the way it does. I mean, I'm playing it on PS5 Pro. It's honestly playing almost at the quality that you would expect on a high-end PC. See something like this on my PlayStation, it looks incredible. And then of course, the gameplay is just so fun and addicting. It's like a cozy game. I really can't wait to get back into this. I'm going to jump back into it in the next few days for sure.
Falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun. And I
found these on a great sale at Walmart, and I've had my eye on them for a while. The one that I've actually played so far is Capcom Fighting Collection. So this is the first volume in the Capcom Fighting Collection series that we've gotten. I think there's 3 of them now. Yeah, this is great. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing this, and I've showed gameplay from it. Games like Red Earth, Gem Fighter, where you play as like all the favorites, like the Capcom Street Fighter favorites, but they're little mini versions of themselves. That was actually really fun arcade action. These are a lot of old school arcade games that I never played growing up, and it's so cool to have them all in one collection. And this is the one I played so far. I also picked up Marvel vs. Capcom. Can't wait to get into this. I haven't got into it yet, but this has Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which I have memories of being at the University of Houston with my friend Ahmed. He would spend hours on the arcade machines. He goes by Sleem as well. Sleem, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. When we would be down in the UC Satellite, it's like this underground food court, lounge, chill area where you can just relax. And they had this arcade cabinet with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He would always be on that machine playing it, you know, in the way that it was meant to, on an arcade where you put quarters in. And I remember being there and just, you know, hanging out with him, watching him. I'd be playing pool with another friend. Really, really great times. And the music really stuck with me, you know, like I would hear the music while he was playing it. Now, personally, I didn't really get into Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as much. I was more into Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I picked up on my PS3 thanks to Ahmed. And yeah, I remember spending hours on that game, you know, playing it. It was so fun. And so it's going to be really fun to get back into this one and play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, The Punisher I heard is great. And then just all these other, you know, like all these other great Marvel arcade games. So really excited to have this. These are classic PS4 games. They go on sale on VGP a lot, and I had to cop these. And each one, you know, has a reason why I bought it. First one I want to talk about is Shadow of the Colossus. Now, I've never played Shadow of the Colossus on PS2. They did a remaster on PS4, and I remember watching my little brother playing it. And I think I grabbed the controller and played a little bit. You know, it seems like a really fun, atmospheric game. I know it's a classic for PlayStation, and I had to pick it up. It was like $15 or less. And I've always had it on my backlog to play. So, you know, I will jump into it as soon as I can. I've only heard really great things about it. And with the new game that's coming up soon, I forgot the name of it, but they showed it off at an event recently. I think it was a PlayStation Play, like either late last year or early this year. It looks like some people were saying it looks like they're going back to the Shadow of Colossus kind of style. So yeah, I definitely want to play this classic and experience that. Kind of in the same ballpark here, Last Guardian. Same thing, I've never really played it, and I used to own this. I had it on PS4, and then I traded it in for some reason. I don't know why, but I did have this back in the day when I had my PS4. Never really got around to playing it, same as Shadow of the Colossus. From the same studio, heard great things about it. I definitely want to experience it and play it. So when I saw that it was on sale along with Shadow, I had to pick it up alongside. And last but not least, part of that 3-game haul that I got from VGP, The Order 1886. There's a lot of controversy around this game. I remember when it released, a lot of people were upset that it was a very short game. I think it's like maybe 7 or 8 hours, and that's if you do everything. I did play this game back on PS4, so really for me, it was the nostalgia. I wanted to have it in my collection. Personally, I enjoyed this game, and I'm really, really disappointed that we're not going to get a sequel. At least for the time being, it looks like whatever sequel was planned got canceled. I think it's because of all the controversy. I don't know if the game sold that well or not, but I remember a lot of people were upset because, for one, it was a short game. And around that time, it was all about how many hours can you get out of your game, which I always thought was a really lame argument, because I think having a shorter, high-quality game is better than having like a bloated 100 to 150 hour game that's just full of nonsense. That being said, this wasn't a perfect game. Yeah, I do think it was a little too short. When I finished it, it ended on a kind of a cliffhanger leading into a potential sequel, and I really just wanted more. As far as the gameplay and the combat, personally, I thought that the shooting was great. I think the shooting felt really good. Some of the guns were really unique. It just had this really satisfying feeling to it for me. The battles with the Lycans could have been better. I think they were very rinse and repeat, like dodge roll, stab, which sounds similar to like a Souls-like, right? But it's not really like that. It was a lot more simple and kind of unsatisfying, honestly. The story was pretty good. It was interesting. It left me wanting more. The graphics were really good at the time, and I remember the developers said they purposely kept it at 30 frames a second for the sake of the graphics and the cinematic look of the game. They wanted it to really look like a movie, and that is what the game looks like. They have like these black bars at the bottom and the top to make it look like a movie would. Now, there was a lot of controversy around that too, where people said that that was just an excuse. They put the black bars there because otherwise the performance would have been bad, so it cut out some of the potential resolution needed by shortening the screen. I remember hearing that argument, and I don't know if that's true or not. Definitely one of the big selling points of the game, like that the developers tried to tout, was that they put those black bars there to make it look like cinema, and they also kept it at 30 frames a second because movies run at 24 frames a second. They don't run at 60 frames, at least in most movies. To me, it was a great game, and I think it really deserves a sequel. I just wanted to pick it up for my collection for the sake of the nostalgia, because to me, at the time this game came out, I really enjoyed it. I really, have a lot of fond memories of the time when this game came out in the early days of the PS4 and the hype for next gen and all that. So yeah, Order 1886, had to get that in my collection. All right, we're getting down to the last 2 PS4 games. Then I have some fun things here besides video games, including one surprise at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Ys 10 Nordics. I had to pick this up. I'm a big Ys fan, even though I've only really played Ys 8. I do want to play through them all. That's definitely a goal of mine. Not all of them, like not every single one, but I want to play through 9 and 10. And 10 is the most recent one, came out late last year. Heard it was really great, and it went on a pretty good sale on Amazon. It was a little hard to find for a time, so I had to pick it up, get it in my collection, and hopefully I'll, play that sometime soon. I think I want to play 9 first and then play 10. It's not a super deep RPG. It's an action RPG. As far as it being a time sink, it's really just dependent on how many side quests you do and the extra stuff. Ys does have a lot of extra fun stuff, and I did that when I played 8. So we'll see how that goes with 10. Really great game from what I hear, and I'm excited to have it in my collection. And hopefully within the next year or so, I will probably play it. I just want to play 9 first. Last but not least, for PS5, Suikoden series. This was an old school RPG released on the PS1. I don't know if it was on any other consoles like the Sega Saturn or anything like that. It's a classic PS1 RPG. I've heard a lot of great things about it, and I talked about Lunar in my last Games I Bought video. Lunar actually came out after Suikoden, but I didn't didn't get Suikoden until after. It was always on my list to buy because I do want to get these remastered collections and play them at some point. You know, I have Grandia on Nintendo Switch, all these old school RPGs from PS1 era. Great that they're getting remasters, buying them on the PS1. A lot of them are very expensive, sometimes tough to get like that setup with the retro console. So it's great to have like a modern way to play it with some tweaks that might even enhance the experience. Fantastic looking game. Can't wait to jump into it someday. Definitely one that I needed to add to my collection. I do have one more video game to talk about here. I've been watching the Twisted Metal show on Peacock. It is such a good show. Growing up, I had Twisted Metal 2 on some sort of a bootleg emulator. A lot of games I played as a kid on PC were bootleg or emulated, just to make that clear. There were a lot of games that I got from Syria on like bootleg discs, so I didn't really buy a lot here in the US. And one of them was Twisted Metal. I spent hours and hours playing that game on PC and had a blast with it. So seeing the show, I don't know if you've watched it or not. If you haven't, I highly recommend checking it out. It really, really does the game justice. Like, as far as taking this concept and turning it into a fleshed out show with characters and a story and a world. The world building is great. I mean, the post-apocalyptic setting, all that. Highly recommend the show. Watching the show, I was itching to play Twisted Metal. They do have Twisted Metal available on PSN. Up to Twisted Metal Black, and I downloaded Twisted Metal 2 and I've been playing that, but what I really wanted to play was Twisted Metal Head On. This is the PSP Twisted Metal game, probably the one that I have the most connection to because I had it on my PSP when I was a kid. It was one of my only games, and I spent hours playing this game. I went through every single campaign. I repeated them. I loved getting through it, beating the bosses like Tower Tooth and Dark Tooth, Cousin Eddie, and just going through those and playing with the different cars and their different abilities and being able to earn the little movie that they would show at the end. Because they would have like a little clip that shows the character's story and what they wish for when they win the tournament and all that. And usually it went into a dark direction. But I remember this was such a fun game for me as a kid, and I wanted to get back into it. Funny story on that, I did already have Twisted Metal Head On my PSP. When I got my PSP, it was the first game I bought, because like I said, this was my game on PSP back in the day. And the game works. It works just fine. I replaced the shell. It was in the original UMD shell. The game works just fine, but the audio is messed up. And I did some research on it, and this is something that happens with the emulation version of this game. If you download it on a PSP or PS Vita as an emulation, a lot of times there's audio issues. So I was really concerned to see that on the CD, because how do you fix that? Well, you can't. That was a shame. The game was perfectly playable, but it's just not fun when you can't hear like the sound effects, the music. This was the original case for that one. That definitely comes with like the manual right here that has a lot of fun explanations on the characters in the world and the cars and all that. But I did find a copy of Twisted Metal Head On at one of my local game stores here in Colorado Springs. It was like $15. I want to play Twisted Metal. I really want to get into it. So I picked it up, and yeah, I've been playing it on my PSP. My PSP battery is kind of weak, so it doesn't last too long, but I can get a few rounds out of it for sure. And it's been fun. It's been really fun revisiting this game from my childhood and getting to really experience that, especially after watching the show. The show really had me itching to jump back in and play what I'm watching, because when you see the competitions and like the combat in the show, it really is true to the source material, and it's great. Definitely recommend playing it if you haven't played it yet, whether that's on a PSP. There's also a PS2 port, of course, on PC. Find a way to play it there, I guess. Twisted Metal Head On has been great. And just to get into the last few things I have here, like I said, I have a couple of fun things that are not necessarily video game related. The first one being Megazone 23 Blu-ray here. It has all three of the movies. So this is an old school retro anime movie. 100% got inspired to get into this from the Happy Console Gamer. I was watching one of his videos and he was talking about Megazone and how they finally released it on Blu-ray. I think the one he was talking about was like really expensive. It's kind of a collectible now, hard to get. But they did this version that was on Amazon. and it was sold out for a while, but then they restocked it. So I went ahead and picked that up. It has all 3 of the Megazone movies. Megazone, if you don't know, it's basically about this civilization that lives in kind of like a Matrix kind of thing. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil too much. I think it actually influenced the Matrix back in the day. Don't take my word on that. Really, really cool style, you know, from the 80s. And I really like old school anime, so this was a great one to jump into. The 3rd movie is split into 2 parts. I haven't seen part 2 yet, but I did watch part 1. It was great, and we'll probably finish it off soon. The music is awesome. Just want to talk about that anime there, you know, that I got into. It's really, really great, and I highly recommend watching it if you haven't. And the last item I want to show here, I talked about this in another video and said that I would show it. This is a graphic novel called The World of Edina from Moebius. I think you see that, Moebius. I'm not an expert on Moebius, but I've heard about his work, and he's like a French graphic novelist who specializes in sci-fi. A lot of his books are actually hard to find right now, but this one was on Amazon. It's kind of a compilation of a few different stories, all connected to this concept of Edina, which is like kind of like this Eden or something that people go to. It's a really, really surreal sci-fi story. Here, I'll show you some of the artwork there. It's got a really simplistic vibe to it. Like, it's really minimal, but also unique. Here, this is like a picture of this is like a pyramid that they find, and there's a lot of cool details in regards to that pyramid and what it does, and it's just really surreal. It's surreal sci-fi. I don't really read a lot of graphic novels, but I've been wanting to get into it, and this one was great. I'm about halfway through, you can see there. So I'm not quite done with it, but when I get a chance to sit down and read a few pages every night, it's really great to just sit down and unwind and look at this and admire the art that's in it, and, you know, just the world building that's there. It's really, really unique. Definitely recommend checking it out if that's something that you're into. And that's it for everything that I bought, but there is one thing I want to show here. I mentioned that there was a little surprise at the end, and that's an item that my friend Ahmed that I was talking about earlier, he went to Japan recently. You know, it was super kind of him. He sent me this package that had like some Japanese Kit Kats, a couple different flavors, Pocky, and there was like this little turtle figurine, which you can see behind my shoulder here. Right there, it's like a little turtle figurine. I don't know from where it is, but it's really cool. He also sent me this, and it's a little Super Saiyan Goku figure. I was so hyped to see that. Like, Ahmed, you really didn't have to do this, and I do appreciate you sending this. And I've been waiting to make this video to actually open it up and see the figure and talk about it here and showcase it. So without further ado, and then here, I'm going to try to keep this in the video, one cut. Let's go. Dang, this plastic is a little... Just gotta cut this tape. Again, Ahmed is in the Beard Bites duo. Him and as well our friend Hadi. They do a little podcast, and they had me on recently. Definitely recommend checking out their podcast. Whenever they release one, I just put it on and listen to it. It's a great time. Yeah, he's one of my closest friends, you know, from high school and growing up in college. Like I said, a lot of memories, you know, having him over playing Super Smash Brothers and all that. So, you know, really, really close friend. I appreciate. Oh, so it does look like it needs some assembly. Finally got all the pieces out. I don't want to have you watch like that whole thing, but all right, so we got Goku's legs here. Let's see if we can figure out how to put this together. I'm pretty sure we can. Put his body there, and then here's the blast. Awesome. And then I'm not sure where this goes. It's just like a little stand to make it easier to put. But yeah, there it is in all its glory. So Super Saiyan Goku building what seems to be a spirit bomb. For some reason, it's yellow. Really, really cool, actually. I love the quality of this. I don't know what brand this is. It's called GX Materia. GX Materia. Not sponsored by them or anything. This was a gift from my friend Ahmed. Just wanted to showcase it here in this video. I figured it was appropriate, you know, I'm showing games that I bought, and I didn't really buy this. It is something anime related that I got as a gift from a close friend of mine, Ahmed. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the package. Again, you really didn't have to do that. I really do appreciate it. That was nice of you. And this is really cool. So I've had it up here in my shelf in the box for a while now since I got it. Just waiting until I make this video so I can go ahead and unbox it, put it together, and then I'll go ahead and put it up like this. So definitely going to put that on my shelf. That is LittleMoeGames that I bought. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it and talking about these games that I bought and why I bought them. I really enjoy making this kind of content. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Anyways,